If you're one of those people who pays attention to detail, you may have already noticed a greater narrative playing out in Arcane. This series is about power, and it's also about that power's ability to corrupt people. Even when they are sure they are 100% in control of it, it grips them, it twists them, and it changes them.
Everyone in my life has changed. Promise me you won't change.
On one of my favorite Kanye West songs, Power, he puts it like this.
You got the power to let power go.
We'll get back to this a little later. When Vi gets the Atlas gauntlets from Jace, she begins to abuse their power to fulfill her selfish goals, to fix her personal issues. Jinx does the same. She selfishly steals the Hextech gemstone and tries to use it to win over Soko's respect and trust. Singed is in the process of doing the same. He wants more power and control over something that has happened in his life, and he uses science to achieve this. But funny enough about him, he has already arguably ruined the most lives out of any character in Arcane due to his invention, Shimmer. This is a life-altering drug that can either save or ruin lives. And as of last week, we have Caitlyn, who has been given immense power through Mbessa's sleek politicking. What she'll do with this power, we will see tomorrow when Act 2 drops, and it will probably be a immense abuse of power, a disgusting display of excessive force used on those in the Undercity, which would fit the narrative of this series being about power and how it corrupts people very well. But nothing, and I mean nothing, so far in Arcane has been as dangerous as this stare that Viktor is giving this hexcore he has made as it calls to him. Now we've seen this call of power before with this exact same magic pattern, but we'll get back to that again later. For now, the hexcore Viktor created was incomplete, or at least I theorized that it was complete before this moment. As I've explained before multiple times, in League of Legends there are 5 rune trees that you can choose from. This would be Sorcery, Domination, Resolve, Precision, and the rune that was missing from Viktor's hexcore, which is Inspiration. At some point, Sky seems to have cracked this, basically figuring out that Viktor's hexcore was incomplete in some way. However, before she gets the chance to drop this absolute bombshell on him, a bomb is dropped on her, and this happens. I've spoken about this inspiration rune theory a lot, so we're not going to do that. However, I've never really gotten into what inspiration is itself, and I believe we got an answer to this in Act 1 of Season 2. Jace explains to Echo that some of the arcane is not pure code, meaning that it's less scientific and more intuitive. Basically, magic. An easy way to look at it is that the plants that kept shriveling up as they were testing the hexcore might just have needed words of inspiration to work. Kind of like magic words, kind of like abracadabra if you want to think about it like that. Or as Singed accurately pointed out, they needed something like Shimmer to change their nature. What I'm getting at here is that the problem with these hextech items seems to be the lack of a proper vessel, i.e. the users of hextech themselves are not worthy to wield the arcane, and because they are not born with natural arcane talents, the arcane itself is offended, as Echo puts it. After someone like Viktor, who wasn't worthy, fuses with the hexcore, something begins to call out to him. Suddenly, he doesn't seem too separate from the arcane. He looks like a natural user, someone who was meant to use it. Bro, he basically looks like a mage. This arcane power calling out to him could be said to be his current inspiration to live. Mind you, he said this to Jace.
Questions, but
I was supposed to die.
Yeah, supposed to, but now it's too late. And I must admit, Heimerdinger called this very early in the process of this happening. And I personally felt like Heimerdinger should stop because I wanted the story to play out. I wanted things to be interesting. But props to Heimerdinger, he said this.
You must destroy it. I've seen nations destroyed by a single seed, and it looked exactly like this.
And Heimerdinger is no prophet. He has just lived enough life to see this play out before.
This power in the wrong hands, it corrupts, consumes, lays waste to civilizations.
And now with the Arcane writers creating a visual parallel between Viktor and those rune mages which keep causing Heimerdinger PTSD, we kind of know already that things have officially gone to shit. We're not talking about a few dead people here. No. We're not talking about a few counselors that Jinx takes out. We are talking atomic bomb Hiroshima levels of destruction. And that's if I am right about this, which I could be wrong about. Jace and Viktor might have accidentally created a world rune. And now we can finally get back to that thing I kept mentioning. Here is Rise. He is basically a mage, and his greatest strength as a mage, beyond his arcane talents which he was born with, is the fact that he can let power go.
But the only power I truly have is the strength to let it go.
Now you see where the Kanye West bar comes in, right? So Rise goes around the world collecting these world runes, which are world-ending capability items, and he has the power to not use them. He does not get tempted. As much as I virtue signal for Rise, just look at one of these world runes calling to him, begging him to use it, to utilize its power. This is that look in Viktor's eyes. This is the same look that Powder had in episode 1 when she held that magical gem in her hand for the first time. There was just something about it pulling her to it. And what's crazy for me is that the greater the power these characters have in their hands, the greater their delusions are about what they can do with it. Take Jace for example, who has very quick lost his morals and his principles and has designed hex tech weapons despite never wanting to do so, but the call of power made him. But the big scary thing about all of this is that if these world runes exist and Viktor and Jace have accidentally made one, you know, maybe this thing that we're calling a wild rune for now is actually a world rune and Viktor can somewhat control it, there is no greater threat to Piltover and its Undercity right now. Forget Mbessa raiding the Undercity, forget the Black Rose, Viktor is scary. What I find funny about him as well is that they're hinting towards him having a cult following him. In fact, they haven't hinted. Those people, yeah, they're already a cult. You can see it forming right there. In every character story so far, the use of the Arcane has brought nothing but rude awakenings, but the characters keep pinning it on each other and never on the property of the Arcane itself. But then you get good old Heimerdinger who says this:
But perhaps it is a property of the Arcane itself.
Exactly. Sometimes the best thing you can do is have the power to let immense power go. But that doesn't always make for a good story. This is Loy signing off. Peace.